Well, welcome you too. And yeah. Roshali, can you just confirm that you can hear me?
Yes. I can.
Yes, okay. Just you and I have a meeting today. Did you want to do it after this class?
Sure.
So let's just touch base.
Up to the office, or we can do it.
Yeah, either way, let's touch base right when it's over. Can I give you my direct cell phone number really quick?
Sure.
Okay. 925 922 2275.
Can I please visit 925
Yeah, 922 2275.
Sure.
Lots of two.
Thank you. Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we're doing the third series in 3612.3 lead generating today, prospecting. So yesterday, I apologize too for yesterday that with these classes, these courses, they're actually built for in-person teaching. Obviously, since we have a lot of people joining us via Zoom, a lot of these courses are hands-on. So if you were logging in yesterday, it's a little bit more difficult to understand what's going on. So it's good that you came. If you guys are online, for the two that are online right now, you should have in the chat the course material. If you guys can pull that up, at least on your screen somewhere, it'd be ideal if you have it printed. If you don't have it printed, just get a pencil and a sheet of paper just so you can do the activities. And then, so if I ask a question, or this is supposed to be a more of a collaborative class also, so there's a lot of discussions that we'll have. So don't be shy. Make sure you guys chime in. Okay. If you can, I'd like to have your actual video of your face showing. You can blur the background, but that would be great, just so we all know who's talking to each other. Okay. And on the first part, everyone can see the screen. All right, so in this session, do an introduction, lead generation, puzzle, prospecting, 3 ways of prospecting, 3 ways of connecting. I've been talking a lot in the productivity classes about the importance of connecting and creating positive relationships. And this course actually is going to emphasize that a lot. Okay. So we'll go over a lot of that when we get in here. Okay. Another thing that I feel is one of the most important topics that we'll talk about, we talked about this yesterday as well, is the importance of creating a daily routine, right? What you do every day. So from yesterday, what was part of the daily routine that was the most important? Lead generation. What was that?
3 hours, setting aside at least 3 hours for lead generation.
Yes. So, but within lead generation, they talk, it's like the main focus of this course, right? Which is not just lead generation, but when you do it and how much you do it a day, right? So how often, right? So we're going 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, and doing that for an entire 12 months. And if you do that consistently over time, statistically, what we're seeing is you have a chance to sell 36 closings, right? So that would be the ideal scenario. Okay. So for the people that have just joined a little bit late, just making sure everybody knows, we're just recapping what we talked about in class yesterday. We were creating, validity to yourself. A lot of people that haven't been realtors before, how do you go to a meeting or a listing presentation or a buyer presentation? You've never sold one house yet. How do you wrap what you used to do before real estate into real estate now? How can you wrap some of those skills? So Jenny talked a little bit yesterday, like she used to be an engineer. So some of the things that she could say when she's meeting with clients is how detailed she is, numbers, spreadsheets, You know, I used to be a coach, right? So my biggest thing is with communicating, negotiating contracts. So whatever you used to do in your past life, it's important that you can kind of wrap some of that stuff in. So that's a lot of what we talked about yesterday. We also talked about the importance of lead generation, and we talked in the class a lot about not everyone in here was doing really any lead generation, right? Like, you know, when I asked like time wise, some people maybe do it for an hour a day. But what I was challenging people to do, people that are full-time real estate agents, you know, I'd challenge you to do 3 hours of lead generation a day and time block that. Whatever time works for you. Is it 9 to noon? Can you do an hour and a half from 9 to 10:30 and then hit it back up again in the evening? You know, maybe you have kids, maybe you have another job, whatever your scenario is, make sure that you try to get to your 3 hours. But if you, like I said, if you're a full-time agent, come in here, get in one of these cubicles, lock yourself in from 9 to noon. Okay, that's would give you the best chance of success. If you're not full-time, we talked about if you have a full-time job and a family and kids and you're real estate on the side, what we were talking about is, you know, how do you still do lead generation, right? How and when, and kind of what we talked about, the plan we came up with yesterday was do some no matter what. So if you can only carve out an hour a day, you know, time block that, tell your family, right? Tell your kids, fix it around your work schedule or whatever, so that every day it's the same. So maybe you only do your lead generation from 5 to 6 at night. It's fine, just commit to the 5 to 6 at night, okay? But once again, I go back to, if you're a full-time real estate agent, this is the most important part of your business, is lead generating, okay? So if we go to let's see, course book, page 8. This one right here. Course book, page 8. This is, where are you today? So there's 4 questions that we're asking. Number 1, what are the lead generation activities that you're doing and then the time spent? What are your ahas that you got from those activities? What are the most difficult parts of those activities? And then what do you plan to do differently in the next 24 hours? Okay, so this is like where you're at today. If you haven't done anything yet today, then just go back to yesterday. So take a few minutes. What lead generation activities did you do yesterday? Did you get any ahas from it? Like, you know, maybe if you talked to somebody, I think you and I talked about it yesterday. You were in some conversation with somebody, so that would be kind of what you were talking about there, right?
Tuesday,
Yeah.
And then yesterday, like, or actually today, I've done a couple of errands for people that actually could really be.
Right.
Just friends of mine who are now getting emails from me.
But you're connecting with people, right?
You know,
So
like one of the real estate books that I studied with was my testimony here.
yeah.
You know, stuff like that, but I'm counting that as sphere lead generation.
Okay. So take a few minutes right now, guys, just fill that in. Okay, these 4 questions. So if you see if they have the questions, right? Number 1, lead generation activities, either today or yesterday. What your ahas were from those activities. What was the most difficult part of those activities for you? And then what do you think you'll do differently, say, in the next 24 hours? You can go, if you want to go copy it. Awesome, don't worry about it. I'm printing it for you.
Okay, let's start.
I just printed it. Yeah. Hey, Raymond, could you come check this out real quick? First of all, could I get that thing printed?
It's not printing from my computer for some reason.
Okay.
Well, if I can still copy it.
Yeah. All right, and then can you get me back to that screen?
To the presenter.
I don't know where it was. Okay, we'll just make sure you guys keep that. We'll come back to that, you know, at a later time, okay, today. This is where we're at in this 36-12-3 roadmap. We're still way at the bottom of it, okay? And so today we're talking about prospecting.
I don't think it's copied.
Just write down notes. Okay. So on page 10, there's this story of an agent, Bill Watson of Phoenix, Arizona. And he did, and I'll read it just because I'm not sure if everyone has this pulled up. So it talks about Bill Watson's perfect day of real estate. Okay. Bill Watson of Phoenix, Arizona has been wired for leads from the first day in real estate back in 1993. To this day, his routine hasn't varied a bit. He devotes between 5 to 7 hours a day of prospecting, and this is how he described it. Bill Watson's perfect day. From 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., I call expired and canceled listings. From 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., I do admin work and lead follow-up. From 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., I call for sale by owners. From 10 a.m. to 12, he door knocks. From 12 to 1, he goes to lunch. From 1 to 2, he calls expired listings and returns phone calls. From 2 to 3, he door knocks again. And after 3 o'clock, he sets appointments. Okay. What do you guys think of a schedule like that? If you did that every single day, 5 days a week for 12 months, if you did a schedule like that, what do you guys think the results would be?
A lot of leads.
Huh?
A lot of leads.
A lot of leads. Do you think it's for most realtors as we start this business, is that uncomfortable, you think? Yeah, I'm not a cold caller. You know, I don't like door knocking. I'll do it, but I mean, two of the things that pain me the most, he does every day. But it said the first year that he did this, what was his number? He sold 30 homes in his first year of doing this. He did it every single day, 30 homes. It doesn't say how much he did or he does now, but I'm assuming it's a lot, correct? So that's an example of creating a schedule and sticking to it for an extended period of time, with the main focus being lead generation and prospecting. What did he do during his time blocking that wasn't lead generating? Look through that paragraph.
Admin work,
Yeah, so how much admin work did he do?
less than an hour, because that's admin and lead follow-up.
Yeah, so he blocked out 1 hour for admin and lead follow-up. Let's be realistic, he probably has an admin assistant, he uses a transaction coordinator, and then maybe he does some admin follow-up and email stuff at night. But he spends the bulk of his day lead generating, okay? Alan walked through here at the class yesterday, and we asked him a question about that as well. That he's lead generating even when he's at the supermarket, you know? And so it's just constant. I got in here this morning, he was already here. I walked over there. He's got the stand-up desk. I'm pretty sure that's what he was doing. Okay, so the top agents do that on a regular basis. Okay, agents are in here this morning in their cubicles and they're lead generating. Okay, it's the same thing. All right. So on that story, if you guys can, the note that it has here is like read, underline, share, underline things that maybe you think are realistic for you. Okay. All right, lead generation puzzle. So there's two parts of lead generating. There's marketing and then there's prospecting. Okay, so before we move on here, what are your guys' thoughts on what do you think the difference is between marketing and prospecting? And if you talk loud so the owl picks it up.
Marketing costs money usually.
Yep. Not all,
Not all.
but yeah, I mean, I could do marketing on Instagram for free, right? But he does, it is a characteristic of marketing does cost some money, yes. Okay.
Marketing
What else?
is passive and prospecting is proactive.
Yep, prospecting is proactive. So you're going out after leads instead of trying to attract them to come in, correct? If I put out an Instagram post and I say, look at my listing on 123 Main Street. If you're interested, give me a call, right? You know, I'm kind of like throwing out a fishing line and maybe someone will buy it, maybe someone won't. But if I door knock and I say, hey, check out 123 Main Street, it's right next door. If you have anyone interested in buying, that is being proactive prospecting. Okay, there's a difference. Okay, and one is more effective than the other. Okay, and we'll talk about that as we go here. Okay. So we did talk about this just now. Prospecting is all activities that you engage in to find leads. Marketing is what drives leads to you. Okay, marketing driving leads to you. Prospecting is when you're seeking out leads. Okay. The most successful agents in this business, right? They do a combination of both. Okay. So you have to make sure you understand that. Okay. Prospecting and marketing. This little diagram describes prospecting and marketing. If you prospect, you're prospecting to people you haven't met. Marketing, same thing. You could be marketing to people you haven't met. You're turning both of those groups into maybe people that you've met, that's the difference between haven't met and met. They can call them Mets. Okay. With the main goal is you're trying to cultivate a relationship and convert them into appointments. Okay. So you have to do a combination of both. You have to prospect, you have to market, you have to create a positive relationship. That could take a lot of time. We talk about this a lot in the PC classes, and then that hopefully will turn into appointments for you. Okay. I underlined one sentence on page 16 of your handbook. On the first paragraph, it says the effective combination of prospecting based and marketing enhanced. Okay, so the most effective way to generate leads and relationships is a combination of prospecting and marketing. But if you look at this diagram and the way that they split this, right? If you notice the weight of prospecting compared to marketing, and I want you guys to visualize that and think about that when you're doing it. Okay, there are a lot of agents that I've seen and that I've worked with that have this split. They come in, they sit down, they spend all their time creating their social media posts, and then that's what they do when they think they're done for the day. Okay, but they haven't made any human interaction. They haven't made a phone call. They haven't knocked on a door. They haven't done anything that is actually going to create a relationship. Now, you can get some business off of marketing. If your marketing is really good, you might be able to get some. Okay. But what I'm challenging you guys to do is when you're doing your lead generation, focus 70% of your time on the idea of prospecting. How can I prospect and seek out clients? And then I'm going to enhance my prospecting with my marketing. Okay. Does anybody have questions on that? I just talked about that, right? Prospecting reinforces marketing, marketing supports prospecting. Okay. So if you just read it in those terms, which one is most important to us as realtors as we get going? prospecting or marketing? Anybody have any questions online so far?
It's good, thank you.
So I'm gonna go to page 19 right now. And a question that I have for you guys, something for you guys to think about, and please somebody chime in too or something, but what level of marketing at this current time in your real estate career can you afford? Like, have you came up with a monthly marketing budget, right, that you can afford? Right? Or it's okay to talk about it. If you're just getting started and I don't want to spend any money on marketing, then, you know, we just need to talk about some of these things to come up with some ideas. When I first got started, I did all prospecting. Okay? I didn't want to spend any of my own money. Now I still do mostly prospecting, right? But, you know, I do some stuff with Zillow. I do some stuff with HomeSnap. I do some stuff with Reminder Media. You know, I use Client Giant. I have a couple of marketing things that I use, but I'm using those things to enhance what my prospecting is, right? It's not weighted the other way. I don't spend like $6,000 a month on marketing and then don't do any prospecting. I don't do that at all. But I spent the first 6 months without spending a dime of my own money. Okay, but that doesn't mean that has to be you guys. What are your thoughts? Where are you guys at? Austin, where are you at?
I haven't landed on something that I feel, I haven't decided what is going to be the most effective for me yet. I'm leaning towards some sort of monthly print, like a mailer. Or
Newsletter or something?
Or something. Yeah, or something maybe even more condensed than that. And I've also priced it, it's not very expensive. Print stuff actually also is not extremely expensive. I think
So this is where we talked a lot about farming, right?
yeah,
And then like mailing the postcards to houses in your farm. In my opinion, that's a combination of prospecting and marketing. It's like a combo. So you're sending something to someone specific. So I'm like poking towards her, right? But it's marketing. I have something printed. I'm sending it to you in the mail. It has all my contact info. I'm marketing something. It's a combo of both. If you're sending cards to your farm, that is, like I said, that's a combination of prospecting and marketing, but that is going to cost you money, like 35 cents a card or 50 cents a card or whatever that might be. If you do something like that, remember, we did talk about this, that if you're going to work in a farm and you're going to do marketing in a farm, for example, you have to be willing to push out that money for 18 months, right? It's statistically the number. So if you're going to mail cards to a farm and that's going to be your marketing, you have to commit to doing that activity for 18 months. Otherwise, you're just wasting your money. If you do it for 1 month and then you decide, oh, I don't want to do it anymore, you just wasted however much money it costs you to send those cards. So whatever marketing you decide to do, it has to be consistent over time. Okay. And that's what's going to lead you to results. You're going to get all these calls too as a realtor all the time. All these little people, they're trying to sell you stuff. I call it the shiny object, little shiny object. Hey, we'll do this for you and whatever. Stay away from most of those things. Okay. The reality is still you could do most of your stuff for free, right? By yourself. But if you're going to come up with some sort of marketing to enhance your prospecting, okay, which is, I think, a good idea, just come up with a budget for yourself. Okay. Questions?
Yeah.
So on this sheet, it says the cost of prospecting is minimal, time and effort is maximum. Okay. So does it cost money to door knock? Do you have to spend a lot of time to door knock 1,000 doors? You know, I could mail 1,000 doors, right? That's going to cost me a lot of money and it's not going to take me that much time. So you kind of have to understand what those things could be. Okay. So on this sheet, page 20, I want you guys to fill this out here. Okay. Just write some notes here. Prospecting versus marketing, the amount of time devoted to prospecting, daily, weekly, monthly, annually. And then the amount of money that you have spent or you're currently spending in marketing. And then when you're done, try to wrap your head around, truly, is your real estate business right now? Or is your real estate business based on marketing or prospecting? Just if you, once you fill this out, you'll be able to kind of get an idea of where you're at. If it's zero for dollars, that's fine, just write zero. And if you spend an hour a day of marketing, then, I mean, of prospecting, then write that. But remember, we're gonna keep these forms, right? So hopefully you'll be able to come back to it. Okay. And then is there anyone in the class right now that does pay for any external marketing? And then what is it, if you could share it with the class? And is it effective?
Google
Hmm?
Ads. Google Ads.
Okay, talk louder just so that thing can hear you.
Oh,
Google Ads.
Google Ads.
Okay, so she uses,
So if you pay like $200 a month, you appear to be on the top and then you get more visibility when somebody searches a realtor around them.
so she says that
But I've
she
not got a lead so far from it.
hasn't got a lead so far. Okay, so she pays $200 a month for Google Ads. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Google Ads
Mhm.
with the goal
With
of
my
that.
webpage. With
What
my
was it?
webpage partner.
Yeah, so the goal of that is to get her website or her name higher in random Google searches. How long have you been doing that?
Oh my,
4 months, and then so you've got $0, you've made 0 leads.
I got a 0 phone call so far.
Okay, so 0 phone calls so far. So she's at, so on your sheet, you would write $800, right?
Yeah.
How much time or whatever. So I would advise at this point, right? Maybe use your $800 somewhere else
Yeah.
at this point, right? That could be
I'm already
something,
at that point.
yeah. Like Alan, for example, I think he could spend money on the Google AdWords and do that, right? Because he's already getting leads from 18 other different places as well, and it's good to have his name pop in there. But for us, if you're newer in the business and you're just kind of pushing the rock up the hill, so to speak, right? I think it's just important that you get in people's faces, right? You meet people, you create relationships, and then use your $800
Yeah.
to enhance that. That could be printing for your door knocking. Think how many flyers you could have printed with $800. Right, so I want you to like reframe it and think about that. How did you get to using Google AdWords? Did somebody call you about it, or did you actively seek it out yourself?
No, so it nobody called me.
Okay, it was an idea that you had,
Yeah.
and that's okay too.
It was a hit and miss, like.
I've tried like 6 or 7 things myself where I do it for a while and then I stop, and then I try something else, and something will work, something won't work.
I've heard of the real estate industry.
So the one that I
Know how successful they are. I've heard of it.
Yeah. So it's successful for my other business and I thought maybe, okay, we can try this.
And it could be, and I don't, like I said, I don't know with Google in regard to the time commitment that it needs to take in order for that to stick. Or do you have to
Yeah.
raise your spend in order
No,
to,
you have to have more reviews.
Yeah.
Lot of videos and lots of reviews. You do show up at the top and eventually you will start getting calls.
Yeah.
Um,
so for your
but
other,
that's just, like you rightly said, that could be just one way of marketing,
correct,
along with multiple other things. You
Correct.
cannot solely rely on this avenue.
and as
alone.
we go through today even, or, in future meetings or whatever, it doesn't mean that that's wrong. I have a
Yeah.
guy that I work with.
But I
does
found
a
it
lot of that.
cheaper to begin with, honestly, because the print, even though you can print here for free, really. But if you go on distribution, it's like $500 to farm in a specific neighborhood for,
Mhm.
not 500 homes.
Well,
So if
500
you-
homes is still a lot to start. So I talk to people at the beginning. So when I started with my farm, I started with 50 houses, right? I think it's important to start small,
Yeah,
and then eventually those 50 people will start to see you. So my
Yeah.
budget now is based on 50, right?
Right here.
Yeah, and then once I've, the haven't mets to the mets,
Yeah.
once you've met someone, you check it off that you've met them, Once you saturate that 50, expand to 75.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're mailing out and spending $1,000 a month mailing out to 500 houses and they don't know who you are at all,
Yeah.
it's going to take way longer.
Yeah.
It's better to just start like right here and then just slowly expand out after you saturate that area.
Yeah.
Hope that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but even with Zillow leads, they're also at 1,000 per month for like 10 leads or 8 leads.
Yeah.
So I explored that avenue too. I didn't pay for it, but all these people call, like you said, they call realtors. But that's $1,000 if you want to generate, if you want to have some.
Yeah, and if you don't,
If you're gonna buy,
like I said, if you don't do it right and you don't pick the right one, you could be,
yeah,
you could be down 20 grand a year
yeah,
on stuff that doesn't work.
yeah.
When the reality is,
So,
it's
Yeah.
like, boots on the ground is really, so if you're doing all those things,
Yeah.
are you still making your phone calls? Are you still knocking on doors? Are you still meeting people individually and creating positive relationships?
Yeah.
Because if all you're doing, like even me, I've done it before. If all I'm doing is Zillow and mailers and Google AdWords and Facebook ads or whatever, right? And I'm thinking that, cool, I'm investing money into my business. This should work. It's not going to work,
No.
right? Or it's going to work really slowly.
no, I don't have that kind of money. $1,000.
No one does. I mean, I think what I'm saying is it's okay
Yeah.
to realize that at the beginning here, right? This is, you're gonna have to roll up your sleeves and get out there, grow your business. So what I do is too, like I invest like 5 or 10% of every closing I have to my own marketing.
Yeah.
So if I close a transaction, I take 10% of that and I put it in a bucket.
Yeah.
A virtual bucket.
Yeah.
I put it in a bucket and then I use that for advertising. If I don't close, then I don't do it,
Yeah.
right? As opposed to just spending money randomly. I have it budgeted out. So. So anybody have any other thoughts on that? Just understanding the difference between prospecting and marketing and the value of either, okay? That worksheet right there, that was just so you guys can write it out. Hopefully you guys get a visual to yourself about, man, I'm spending way too much money on this. I need to focus more on, or maybe you're doing too much prospecting and you need to enhance it a little bit with marketing. Like Myrna, for example, she does tons of prospecting. So maybe she's at a point in her career where it would be good for her to enhance it a little bit with marketing, right? Seems like for you, you need to do more prospecting and less marketing. So it's just a matter of getting that balance correct. Yeah. Okay. So we're on page 21, 22, right in there. Okay. Prospecting equals cold calling equals rejection. That's the kind of myth, which I still think about that. If I'm thinking prospecting, my mind immediately goes to cold calling. And then I immediately go, I don't want to do that. That sucks because someone's going to hang up on me. Right. That's how I think. Right. So I have to try to get myself to rethink that. Right. The prospecting is meeting people and building purposeful business relationships, strong real estate business partnerships. We talked about this at productivity coaching all the time. When I call a sphere of influence or even a potential client, I'm training you guys to not talk about real estate right away, right? Because I'm trying to create meaningful relationships. But yes, there are the opportunities, and we have scripts for them when real estate needs to come in pretty hard right away. There's doors and windows that they'll open that you can jump in there. Okay. But prospecting is not just cold calling. Prospecting is everything from when Alan came up here yesterday and Alan said, yeah, I'm prospecting when I'm at Safeway. Somebody will come up, I'll talk, I'll create relationships, I'll hand out my card or whatever. Prospecting is everything that we do. Okay. Prospecting means contacting people you don't know as a myth. So and I talked to you guys about this just now, but prospecting is contacting people you know as well as people you don't know. So people you don't know would be cold calling, right? People you know would be sphere of influence calling. There's 2 different types of phone calls and scripts for that. Okay. It's much easier, right, Austin, to call somebody that you know already, as opposed to somebody you don't. If you call somebody that you don't, you have to get past that first 30 seconds and hope they don't hang up on you, right? So how I work those calls is, you know, you got to come across initially, like maybe you're not selling anything at the beginning, right? You're just trying to get them into conversations, right? But which one is harder, cold calling or sphere of influence calling? What do you think, Austin? Sphere of influence is easier, right? Yeah. Okay. But both are prospecting equally. Okay. Both can net you money equally. I'd say sphere of influence prospecting will get you funds a little bit later. It's more of a long play in real estate, right? Cold calling, you know, you might get someone right there that wants to list their house with you, right? Sphere of influence might take a little longer.
Also, it's easy to face rejection from cold calling versus your skill.
Correct. Yeah. Well, there's some rejection sphere of influence. You know, some people still don't like getting those calls. And when we sit in here and we talk about making those calls, and we're going to do some of them tonight, right? Even the agents that are in here, right? Purdy, I think you did once, like you're like, I don't want to make that call. And then you went in and made the call, right? And it's like, if you make the call and sometimes you get a response that you had no idea about, right? Like, what was yours? I think you went in there, right?
Yeah,
So explain that a little bit.
so yeah, it was a colleague from my past company, and I had not contacted him for past 2-3 years, so I was really hesitant to, let him know about my new business. So that, I was thinking that he will have an idea that I'm calling him to market myself, but it was pretty comfortable, and it just went fine, and he was the one who brought up, oh, what are you doing? And then I mentioned real estate, so it was pretty comfortable for me.
So I remember before she went in,
Yeah.
right? She was a little nervous to go make the call. She said, I haven't talked to this guy in 3 years, right? I'm going to be making a business call. And then you came out and like your whole face had changed. You were like happy. You were like, oh my God, it worked. Yeah, it was super easy.
It was not
Yeah.
that bad.
And so those calls are important, right? Because now that person knows you're in real estate, right? It was somebody that you knew before, and now hopefully that person is in your command, and you'll call that person again. So I called you the other day, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay, tell them why I called you.
Just to check how is it going.
But why did I call you? Did I tell you why? Like I kind of told you, right?
Yeah, because I was in your list. I think you added me in the list, and I was in your call.
You guys remember when I was we did a PC class, and I was showing people how to add contacts to the database, and that's the demo one. So I added her to my database, and then I set her on smart plans. And then I think it was like 2 days ago, I called you and you're like, hey, Travis, how are you? And I'm like, hey, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
I got alerted to call you this morning from command. I was just giving you a call, checking in on you, seeing how things are going, making sure you knew the command works, right? So it was one of my calls, one of my tasks that it gave me during the day was to call her. I still have it in there, by the way, so I'll call you next month. Okay. I thought this was interesting. Go to page 24, if you guys can. Prospecting statistics, only who already has an agent, right? Before you start, whether it's open houses, you're cold calling, you're door knocking or whatever. 22% of sellers already have agents. I don't look at that like 22%. I look at it the other way and I'm like, man, about 78% of people don't have an agent yet. My odds are good, right? That's how you want to look at that. Buyers, these are the open house things we're talking about. We're looking at 88% of buyers walk into an open house and they don't have an agent already. 88%. Now, that's not fully correct because this is the entirety of buyers, not just going into open houses, right? You're statistically, I don't hardly ever work at an open house where I don't get at least one, and I call them free agents, right? I could work an open house. I hardly ever will work an open house where I don't have one legit shot at converting someone to work with me. That means they don't have an agent or they're just starting their real estate search or whatever. Every single open house you should go to thinking I'm going to come out of here with one viable name, right? It's because the pool of potential clients, there's 10% more on the buyer side than on the seller side. Also, On the seller side, when you're first getting started in real estate, sellers typically want agents that are a little bit more experienced, usually, okay? So what that would tell you is if you're gonna time block yourself and you're a new agent, spend a little bit more time at the beginning focusing on buyers. Because statistically, you're gonna have a better shot. And every buyer that you close, if a seller in the future asks, well, how many transactions have you done? You can say 46. They don't know 39 of them are buyers, right? You're just trying to build up your experience, right? And you have more of an opportunity with buyers right now than sellers, okay? Doesn't mean don't do it. It just talks about how people choose an agent. Use the agent that contacted them, only 4%. So making cold calls, I thought it was lower than 4%. I use it like 100. You know, if you're gonna make 100 calls, I think statistically it's something like 1. If you make 100 calls, 1 person might answer, or if you make 150, 1 person might answer. On the flip side of that, like my uncle is a high volume real estate agent, and the way he explained cold calling to me was, and I did this with a different example before, but if I told you, hey, come in, put on a headset, I'm gonna give you a list of phone numbers. I need you to call 250 of these people. You can do it today and tomorrow. I think you should be able to get through most of the list today. But if you get one of them, you know, you'll get $27,000, right? Like, how hard is it to crank out the phone calls if you're thinking about it in that term? I'm gonna get told no 249 times, but on the 250th time, I might make $30,000. Does it make it a little bit easier to make the calls? I'd also look at it like door knocking, and Myrna has a number, it's $1,000 a door, something. If you walk up to a door thinking it's $1,000 a door on average, right? Success over time, right? Or $500 a door, whatever number you come up with, right? She's in San Francisco, so it's a higher number, okay? But if you think about it in terms of that, like I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna door knock 300 houses. Someone's gonna throw something at me. Some people aren't even gonna open the door. Some are gonna yell at me from the window. The reality is you're just looking for the one, right? Somebody is gonna open their door and have a conversation with you. If that happens in your 500 that you're door knocking, was it worth it to do the 500? Okay. Obviously, use an agent that's referred to them by a friend, relative, or neighbor. That 40% seller, 40% buyer, 38%. That's your biggest window to get potential clients. Referrals, okay, from friends, family, sphere, past clients, which is when I go in the PC classes, I spend a lot of time with you guys talking about creating that sphere of influence and then nurturing that sphere of influence consistently over time, right? Because that's where the biggest block of business is, right? It's in that window. Now, I was talking to my buyer's agent last night, and he was talking to me about this buyer that he has, and he's only done like 7 transactions, so he's pretty new. And this buyer is like squeezing him for more stuff, right? Like, you know, can I get a $1,200 credit because of this? And he's like kind of pissed, and he goes, I don't want to keep giving this guy credits. And I asked him a question. Okay, if you don't give him the credits, is he going to withdraw from the contract? His answer was yes. Right? That's what he said. Yes, I think he'll withdraw. I said, if he withdraws from the contract, is he going to use you to write another contract later? Or are you guys just done? And he said, I think we're going to be done. I'm like, okay, so you have a decision to make, right? You give him the $1,200 credit and you close the transaction, right? And you make your $12,000 or whatever his commission would have been, right? But it was deeper than that. What I told him was, if you meet him where he wants to be and you're a new agent, right? You're going to close the transaction, but then what have you then created? I'm not advising you guys to give things away as much. I'm talking to you guys about what has my buyer's agent now created from us. What has he created?
They're gonna know that he was a discount or something.
Kind, a little bit. So you have to be careful about that, right? But I call it accumulation of past clients when you're at the beginning of your real estate business. How many past clients does Alan have? Does anybody know? Do you know? How many do you know? Let's just, for the sake of argument, let's say 400. Okay, 400 past clients, right? So he has 400 advocates of himself, right? He has 400 people giving him referrals, right? Now how many do you have? 10, okay? So what we have to do is at the early stages of your career is accumulate past clients, right? How do you get to that point, right? So it's funny. So he ended up saying he agreed to give the credit that was going to help pay for the pest damage or something. The guy called him back the next day and said, you know, hey, thanks for doing that. I really appreciate it. I'm just letting you know, my daughter and her husband are going to call you tomorrow, but they want to buy in Concord also, right? So if you think about one singular transaction as possibly webbing itself into 6 or 7, right? I think you guys are going to be more successful as you guys go, okay? And the reason why I'm telling you that is like the biggest chunk of business that we deal with is in the referral, friend, relative, past clients, all of those people, that's where most of the business is. You spend a lot of time prospecting, phone calling, doing everything to get a bunch of past clients. But once you get enough, right, could Alan never prospect again and still make a good living every month on referrals from past clients? What do you guys think? Probably could, right? The woman that I work with in my office, I think she has like 475 or 480 past clients. She doesn't work anymore. All she does is have me do everything, and then she takes calls from past clients. And so a past client that she was a buyer's agent 10 years ago called, she'll sell their house, but she has so many past clients that she's doing like 3 deals a month just from past clients, right? So the trick is, right, is focus as much as you can in that middle area, right? The hard part is you have to spend a lot of time as well prospecting in order to fill up the middle area. I hope that makes sense. But as it gets filled, make sure you guys focus on that, okay? So they talked about just doing it a different way. People you haven't ever met, buyers and sellers, you know, 4% of them, that would be like your cold calling kind of scenarios, right? Maybe even open houses. Mets, people that you contact, referrals, the numbers are the same, right? People you know, or that somebody you know knows, somebody that referred, and then also past customers. So the number, if you look at this, the number of, you know, your sphere of influence is 40%. And then if you add in past clients as well, you're at 52% of the potential pool of clients is in those 2 areas. Okay. What was that? Did somebody say something? Oh, okay. So, I mean, based on the percentages that I just showed you guys, I mean, what do you guys think is the area that you would have the most impact on, and why? Like, where could you get the most business from? Some people might have moved to the area and they don't know anyone here yet. So that whole middle ground, it's not viable for them right now, right? Anybody have ideas? Like where are you at in your business? Like where do you guys think you're gonna find sphere for you? Is that where you think you'll find stuff? The sphere of influence? Okay. Myrna, I just based on my conversations with you, it's like a combo of both, but you do a lot of prospecting, right? So you're kind of heavily in there, right?
I do a lot of
Yeah.
and then my third influence and one.
Yeah. And referrals. You're going to refer, you referred someone to me in the East Bay. So she's active in all different areas. Okay. What was that? 100% from referrals?
Yeah, this is my 4th year.
And so you're at the point where it's all referrals, or were you referrals right at the beginning?
In the beginning, it is my very close friend.
Okay.
Then later, the second one is it is my coworker referral, they are her friend. Then that friend referral up down referral 4 clients. So every time just the referral. I didn't do any.
So you haven't done any prospecting yet at all?
No, any session, no,
Oh.
didn't do any other thing to generate lead, just the 100%.
What are your thoughts on, so it sounds like you have a good business with just referrals.
Because I just the 100% servicing all the clients. After the field, the down field, I suppose service if they want to remodel something, I have some few contractors work with me, report to them. And also, all the service I keep servicing. So like last month, I closed the one deal from Sunny. He submitted the referral from his committee of work platform. Because I think
Awesome.
I 100% service them, they must have 100%, not 99% satisfied me. Then they are really report. They are ready.
So the trick with you right now is, it sounds like you have a lot of business in that middle sphere that we're talking about, right? Of, friends.
My transaction every year around 20 transactions. Just every month, like 1 or 2 transactions. No, just offering this. I think for me it's enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if it's not enough, right? If it's not enough, it sounds like the idea of prospecting or like reaching out and trying to find other people that aren't getting referred to you. Every time you land one of those, you drop them in now that person will be a referral ally for me, right? So you could grow your referral pool from 20 to, if
Yes,
but it sounds like maybe you don't need to. You just need to focus on, keeping.
Because my goal is not to see my age as a public retirement. But I think it's enough for now, referral is enough. So that's why I did the open house generally or prospecting. I think now it's just referral. Because referral for my is very successful, almost the 90% of referrals when call me out the phone, not down. I say, okay, you are my agent. That's it.
Well, I'm just so you know, I'd say 90% of my business is the same as yours. I'm sphere of influence and referral is my thing that I'm good at doing. Sounds like I do a lot of the similar things that you do. It's once I get a client and I close that client, I service that client for the rest of their life. That's how I approach it. And that person then refers me to other people and I do the same thing. And eventually it gets pretty big. But like I said, there's some agents that do what you and I do. There's some agents that don't have any necessarily referral base to even tap into, right? And then there's some agents that, really like door knocking or cold calling or there's a niche for everyone, right? For sure. But I think what you're doing is you're tapping into, like I said, 40 to 60% of all potential business in real estate is right there. So that's just the area that you're living in, and I think that's great.
I also have special backgrounds. I work for industry. I'm an engineer for Oracle. So that's why all referrals is young professionals. They work for Apple, Google, Facebook, or Canadian. Then referral, then over the phone, we talking something. We very easy have a common language.
Yeah.
Because I'm engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we work for Oracle over 23 years.
Nice.
So that's they for all young couple. My client always like a double income, very high income. So that's all very deal with, always easy deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are smart. They know the marketing, and they know everything. Yeah, at least for education, they all get the point. So very sometimes just showing them a couple times go to the contract.
Yeah.
So,
So prospecting, just like we're talking about not as much, marketing, but prospecting, right? Number one, it's inexpensive and yields immediate results, right? So I explained if I give you a list of 200 phone numbers to call, it's going to suck to call them. No one likes doing that. But if you call through that whole list, your odds of getting one of them are pretty high. So immediate results, how long would it take you to call the 200 numbers? It might take you a day. You're gonna get a result if you focus on doing that, for an example, right? Prospecting puts you in control of filling your pipeline. So me and you are mostly reliant on referrals and people moving business towards us. So we don't really have control of our pipeline, right? Prospecting gives you control of your pipeline. You're making the calls, you're knocking on the doors, you're proactive, okay? We're reactive, and it's good for our business, but we're taking in leads instead of going out and like necessarily grabbing them. Okay, so that's the difference between prospecting. Prospecting increases your confidence and skill. So we work on scripts all the time in here. Every time you do a script, you should get better at it. Every time you door knock, Myrna, every time you door knock, you feel like you get better at it. Less nervous to knock on the door or whatever. So it does add up, okay? Yields quality leads, which then now you get them into that referral network and it'll yield more quality leads if you can get them in there. And it gives you a direct contact with the market, protects you against market shifts. Okay, that's prospecting. Let's see, page 30. If we could go to page 30. So just write down a recap of the 5 benefits of prospecting, and then prioritize them. Prioritize these in order if you guys can on that sheet. Remember, this is just something that you guys are going to keep. So it's inexpensive, it yields results, it puts you in control, it increases your confidence and skill, it yields quality leads. So just write those down in there, like in order of the importance for yourself right now, okay? This shouldn't take long, just kind of crank it in there. And then what we'll do when you guys are done, just have one, at least one, they want us to like do it in little groups and talk about why you put things in a certain order, but if there's one of you that could share like the order that you put those in and why, that'd be great. Myrna, did you do it or not? Oh, did you get the shot? I get mine going out. All right. Austin, did you do it? Okay, Purdy, did you get it done? Doing it? All right. Either are you two done yet? How about just the things that you guys put as number 1 and number 2 and why? Like, let's just let you guys fill out the rest later, but Austin, what about number 1 and number 2? And why?
Well, the skill I have at number 1 right now, because that's what I'm trying to hone.
Okay.
Like, I'm sure in that, that's definitely number 1. right
Okay.
now, because if I gave you one, doing the scripts, and calling people, and
Okay.
getting in contact with people, and also just getting in the habit of talking to people. As you were saying, getting in contact.
So you're saying it's important to get in the habit of talking to people, prospecting, right? So what about you? First one.
For me, the first one would be to keep you in direct contact with the market and save you from the market shift. I mean, which in turn will, have a steady pipeline. So I think number one would be the direct contact with the prospect or the people around you, maybe from the market.
Yeah, that's good. What are you?
Being proactive,
Being proactive. That's good.
like prospecting, like you said, we come to people, so we create more opportunity rather than doing marketing that you just wait there,
Yeah, so you want to be more proactive in your business. Yeah. What about your first one?
Put you in control of filling your pipeline of leads.
That's one that's really important. So she said to be in control of filling your pipeline. So instead of relying like I do, I rely on referrals. So, yeah, so you need to focus in on,
Yeah.
on one thing. Yeah. Right.
I'm doing many things and not a really good time.
So the next part we're gonna do is the 3 steps to prospecting. Okay. And every contact begins with one person starting the conversation. You control the conversation and ultimately the outcome, basically through scripts, right? Have the right mindset and approach. I'm going to read you a couple of things that I have here, and then let's just talk about it. Okay. So you're prospecting, whether it's a door knock, a cold call, a sphere of influence call, or whatever. We're talking about be proactive. Don't wait for people to come to you. You talked about that as like your number one thing that you want to work on, right? Be willing to break the ice. So if you meet somebody at Safeway, like what Alan talked about, right? Alan's definitely willing to break the ice in a conversation, right? I'm training you guys in the PC classes to just initiate conversations with people, right? Breaking the ice. I think that's important. Be friendly, caring, and most importantly, be real. Being honest, I think, is really important, right? Be curious about them and their concerns, right? Remember, don't go straight to, hey, I'm a realtor. Can I have your name and number? Instead of doing that, right? We want to say, well, how are your kids doing? What are your kids doing? Do they still play soccer? How's work? Where are you working? How do you like the neighborhood you live in? How's your mom? How's your family? You could get in like a 20-minute conversation before you even bring up, hey, can I get your phone number? Okay, like when salespeople come to me and they go straight to the sale right away, it's kind of annoying, right? But if you create a little bit better of a relationship, I think that's better. Okay. Be ready to give proactive positive feedback, be confident in your place, and be ready to connect. What do you guys think about those things? Yes, no, other things we could add. This is just having your mindset before you make the call or knock on the door, right? Anything else? No? I myself, I sometimes get nervous when I door knock, right? I just don't like it, don't feel great, right? But every time I'm about to do it, how I wrap my head around it is how much it could be worth if this person actually is interested and I'm driven by money. So I like close my eyes and I think, God, what if they say yes? I'm not like, what if they say no, or these people are going to say no. I like, before I knock, I go, what if this person says yes? Right? That's how I get myself to do it. What if this person says yes? Anybody else have a?
Yeah, I think the way I see it is, starting from a place of service. So if I'm service, if I'm providing service, then, if they say no, then I feel like, well, I'm just providing something, I'm not going to do it.
So you're just there to help, and so, yeah.
So when you change, I think for once I kind of changed my mindset on that, then it became a lot easier than I'm like thinking about all the rejections I was gonna have.
Yeah. What are some ways, some things you could say to somebody in your neighborhood, like a way to connect with them? You're walking your dog, you see somebody. They've given me a couple scripts here, but I just want to see what you guys think.
I just say good morning, a long walk, and it's like, oh, hi, good morning, how are you? And they're like, oh, and they start chatting with you.
Yeah. So a
Simple
script,
as that, it's nothing like,
I think that's perfect.
I don't even think I have a script for that, I just say
So-
hi.
Example, agent in the neighborhood, just walking around, just a Keller Williams script, right? Hi, my name is Travis, and I know that we see each other every day walking around out here. I just wanted to say hi, you know, not saying I'm a realtor or anything. I'm just, hey, my name's Travis. I see you out here all the time, or I see you running all the time out here. How's your 5K time? Whatever it might be, just creating that relationship. You're in a coffee shop, you know, it's like, hi, I couldn't help but notice you're reading a great book. Are you enjoying that book? What's it about? Right? Something, so I'm creating these might not be scripts that I would necessarily use, but it's just like an example of, you see somebody that could potentially be a client and I want to be proactive and prospect to that person. How do I initiate a conversation? This could be one that they gave here just in case, like after you mailed them something, you know, it's like, hi, Austin, it's Travis again from Keller Williams. I want to take a moment of your time. Did you receive that postcard that I sent in the mail? Yeah. All right, cool. I just wanted to make sure you got it. I hope you enjoyed it. You know, happy Halloween, you know, whatever. I'm just creating conversations with people, right? Is what they're trying to get us to do. Okay. Number two is, so that's the approach, right? Number two is connecting. Okay. So I'll just summarize this really quick. Have the right mindset. So my mindset was, what if they say yes? It's gonna be great, right? Whatever your approach is, some people like wake up in the morning, cold callers. Sometimes they wake up in the morning and they do affirmations. You are great, Travis. You kick ass. You're the best salesman ever. You just tell yourself over and over and over, and then you get on the call. There are people that do that. If you want affirmations, probably Google affirmations and then just tell yourself them every morning. Some people do that. Be proactive. Don't wait for people to come to you. You and I wait for people to come to us. You're trying to get more proactive. Myrna is some combination of both. Jenny is definitely out seeking potential clients, right? So it's be proactive, be willing to break the ice. You're in your neighborhood, you see someone that you see every night, and it's not going to be weird if you say something because you know they know you, because you guys walk by each other every night, right? Be proactive and break the ice in a conversation, right?
So the question for like, you have that neighbor, right? You talk to a neighbor and say hi every day, and then when we start to bring up the real estate stuff, how do you let them?
But you don't even be worried about that right now.
But you don't know.
Why don't you next, you know, okay, so you know you're gonna go on a walk tonight.
But you don't know
Well-
if you're going to meet with them, so you're gonna again, right?
Well, you know that there's
Well,
an 80% chance when you go for a walk tonight in your neighborhood, it's that same woman that you always see, and she doesn't know you're a realtor yet. So tonight, I'm gonna wear a shirt that says KW on it, really big, and then I'm gonna walk by her. And then the next time, same kind of deal, you know, I mean,
Not only that, but I think like at least for me in my neighborhood, I just walk. You get familiar with the same people, so I know what people work at a certain time. 2 o'clock in the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon. So regardless of what time I go, I'm gonna run into the same people.
Yeah.
Because they're taking a break from work. And they usually will say, hi, how are you, they'll ask. And then eventually we'll be like, so why, you know, like, I feel like they're wondering why I'm walking around. Yeah, 9 in the morning, right, well, I'm actually at work. And I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm a realtor.
yeah, once they ask you what you do or what have you been up to recently, once they ask you that question, that's you're in. We've worked on that script, right? It's like, oh, thanks for asking. I mean, I just recently got my real estate license, and then you just go into it, right? But you still don't, like, you know, do you know anyone that wants to buy or sell real estate? You don't say that. I mean, I don't know why people would say that. You don't say that. Because you're creating a relationship and you're trying to connect. They will then associate you as a realtor. They'll see Jenny's shirt that says KW on it a couple nights. They'll know she's a realtor now. Maybe next time you talk and you're asking about her dog and how cute her dog is, and then, you know, she'll say, well, what are you doing nowadays? And then Jenny gets to talk to her about it now. And then now 6 months later, when that woman wants to sell her house, she's gonna be like, oh, Jenny, that woman that I always see walking out there, that's who I'm gonna call. You're trying to get top of mind. And getting top of mind with prospects takes time. Unless you're just doing that straight cold call thing. It takes time, and understand that. It takes time, right? be ready to connect, right? Make sure that you connect with people like on a human level. If you do, what are the 3 things that I tell the productivity class that you need to do in order to get someone to want to do business with you? They need to what? Yeah. Know you, like you, and trust you. If you get all 3 of those things, okay, there's a good chance if they want to do a real estate transaction that they'll call you. If you don't have all 3 of those things, there's another realtor that does. Okay, and sometimes creating that relationship might take time, and that's okay. Okay, if you're working at an open house, do you have any chance to get them to know, like, and trust you in the 2 minutes that they're at the open house? No. You can get one of those things, I think, right? What is the one thing that at an open house you can get them to do? Kind of. They don't know you yet, but like you. Yeah. And does anyone like a salesman? No. So you gotta like trim down the sales talk at the open house. Try to get them to like you by getting them to connect with you. So Austin, I've told you this before. If someone walks in wearing a Golden State Warriors shirt, what would my script be right when they walked in the door?
I don't think we should say Warriors. Something about.
Yeah, go Warriors. You know, it would be something. I would like immediately try to connect, right? Like I had this one guy, I think I said this before, this one guy that came in, he had like a pink flamingo shirt on. It was like the weirdest shirt ever. You know, but my mom really likes pink flamingos. It's like a thing. She has them all over like statues and everything. I'm like, pink flamingos, huh? I'm like, I've never seen a shirt like that. That's cool. That's one of the best shirts I've ever seen. And then he was like, yeah, my wife got it for me. And it's the only shirt I had. But anyway, we got into this conversation because of like a shirt he was wearing. You got to find some way to connect with somebody, right? So I think that's just make sure that you know that. Don't go straight for the hard sell right away. Create relationships, okay? Connect. What Myrna said, right? Be a giver. Always come from contribution. There's takers versus givers, correct? Takers. Okay, so let's see if it goes here. All right, takers. Okay, takers. They talk to you. They withhold things. They look for the easiest way out. They respond when they're ready. They expect you to follow them. They just wing it. They expect service. They react, right? Givers listen, offer, take pride in their work, respond quickly, offer guidance, prepare, give service, anticipate, right? So is it better to be a giver or a taker mentality-wise if you're trying to create relationships? Giver. Okay, so I think what Myrna said when she was walking over there was perfect, right? I'm trying to provide value, give them something that they can use, okay? Or provide a service, right, or something. So you're not selling them anything, you're helping them. If you have that in your mindset, I think that's really important, okay? How to connect. Ask for their name, show them that you care, show gratitude, offer compliments, be courteous, and somehow can you introduce the topic of real estate? But Jenny, what I talked to you about a lot, right, is getting, or who, it wasn't Jenny, it was it Zach? We did scripts once and Zach said, my God, it's the first time like I realized like I don't have to like immediately ask for their cell phone number, right? The way that we were doing that script, right? So how do you introduce the topic of real estate? I think that's kind of the $1 million question, how and when. I like introducing that I'm a realtor or the topic of real estate. If they ask me what I'm doing now, or if they ask me how the market is, right? Something like that. If they give you a window, jump into it, okay? So we talk about ways to be curious, okay? Ask open-ended questions. Ask them about their life and their interests. So you're in this conversation with this, Jenny's in this conversation with this woman that she sees every night. This is just a strategy, right? So things that Jenny can talk to, it's FORD, it's the acronym FORD. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Okay, So in a conversation that Jenny gets in with this woman that she sees in the neighborhood, over the course of a couple conversations, maybe Jenny's asked about their family. Maybe Jenny's asked what she does for a living. Maybe Jenny has asked, what do you do for fun? Do you go on hikes or bike ride? What else do you do besides walk around the neighborhood? Dreams is kind of like a little bit further down the road conversation, but like, have you, like, I live in Pleasanton, right? And if I saw somebody and I'm like, have you always lived in Pleasanton? And they say, no, I moved from New York. Like, have you ever dreamed about going back? Or, get them into conversations about like what they really want to do or after this, right? So those are, if you remember that for family, occupation, recreation, dreams, every time you get into a conversation with somebody, can you ask or guide a conversation about one of those things or two of those things without throwing real estate in right away? Right? Because then you can get people in conversations, right?
Family problem is very easy.
Family's easy, occupation is easy, recreation super easy. The dreams one is a little hard. Recreation's easy. It's just simply, what do you do for fun when you're not working? Everyone wants to know that about everybody. I like going on hikes or running. Those are the two things I like doing. Some people might like, going on roller coasters or whatever. I mean, it's just a matter of asking the questions. And yeah, you care what those answers are, but the reality is you just want them talking. Remember, you're a listener, you're not a talker. You ask questions that get them talking, right? You're not talking at them, you're listening to them, okay?
I think when you're like in your career, how many successful transactions you have done from this process?
From strangers?
Yeah, like neighbors, some people you don't knock on your door. How many have you successfully?
I've done like 5 myself, at least. 5.
From where?
Those are referrals.
Neighborhood?
No, like my son plays hockey, and so he's playing hockey all the time, and there's always this other dad, like his kid's always on the other rink, and we just always see each other. And then, we just talked at the snack bar and then whatever, and then he eventually asked me what I do for a living, and then he ended up buying a house with me. So yeah, I mean, it could, but that like courtship, right, so to speak, that there's like a couple months, of communicating and everything. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is, and I know we have someone that's on here, so maybe for that group, I could have you two jump in with her, because you'll be around the owl, so then you can see where she is, okay? And then we'll get in three groups. So what I want to do with the 3 groups is I want 1 real estate agent, 1 potential customer, 1 observer. Okay. The real estate agent, right? Questions that you guys are going to ask. What do you like about the neighborhood you live in? What was the last book you read and why? What is one of your goals or dreams this year? Describe a vacation that you just had or whatever. Just get into a conversation with this woman that you were walking down the street. Okay, right? And if you go to page 36, down at the bottom, can you guys see the questions, the sample questions? Okay. So I want you guys each to do it. So 1, do the role of the agent talking to the person that's walking, and then vice versa. Okay. So can you guys come around here just so she can see you? Roshali, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so when they come over here, you'll be able to, you guys will all be able to see each other. So you'll be in a group of 3 up here, okay?
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just gonna walk around.
Other than for your
You 3 can go together. 1, 2, 3, and then I'll be. Okay. Did you have the question? I did. No, he does. That's fine. You guys can figure it out.
Hello. Hi. I'm Trishali.
I am Neha.
My name is Mia.
Mia. Hi, Mia.
Right.
So Mia, did you have a listing in Evergreen?
I'm sorry?
Did you have a listing in Evergreen area?
Currently, no.
No, like I think a month or two ago.
A month ago. I'm hosting an open house. I'm
Okay,
hosting an
okay.
Oh, you saw my name.
Yeah, I saw your name. Yeah.
Okay. So we have three rows here. One is agent, one is potential customer.
So which one are we planning to do on page 36? Page 36, right?
Yeah, 36.
So one student will volunteer to play. Okay.
Okay, then what row you want to play?
We can do one, like, so I can observe if you guys, if you want to be agent and she wants to be agent.
Do you want to be an agent or you want to be a client?
I can be agent too, if that is okay.
Yeah, you can go first and then I'll be a customer. Okay, so.
Hi, how are you able to
One last.
hear me okay?
Oh, just if other than neighborhood.
Yeah.
See it all the time. And so
Are you able to hear me okay?
Yeah.
we're neighbors.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. So we will assume that we are walking in the neighborhood, right? We will assume that we are walking in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's the scenario she's saying, that you're walking in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Sure. And I'm assuming that you have a dog with you, and I'm also walking my dog.
That's the thing, right?
Will that work?
Yeah.
Sure. Hi, how are you? That's a great puppy you have.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So what breed is it?
It's a husky.
It's a husky. Wow. So I know they shade a lot. So do you take them to a groomer? Because it looks really pretty.
Yeah, it do shed a lot, so yeah, you have to groom it every month.
Every month. Wow. Do you take them to a neighborhood groomer? Do you have a groomer nearby?
I take him to PetSmart every month.
Oh, okay. Because I know I'm looking for one for my puppy too, because the one that we have currently, he's moving to another area.
Oh, nice. So you also looking for a husky or other
No,
breed?
I'm also walking a dog, and so that's what I assume. So I was looking for a groomer.
Oh, you're looking for a groomer? Yeah, you can take it to PetSmart. I have the service over there.
Oh, okay. Because I know my dog, her name is Stella, and she is very active dog. So that's why I'm looking for someone who can handle her well.
Yeah, you can try PetSmart.
Although, I also.
So do you also take, what's your puppy's name, by the way?
Like there's certain.
What's your puppy's name? What is his name? Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah. Do you take Okay, do you take her to a dog park or something?
The dog park?
A dog park.
Do you take her dog park?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I walk her every week there.
Every weekend? Oh, okay. And do you also take her to dog park?
Say again?
Dog park? Do you go to dog park?
Because then you're like.
Yeah, I go there.
Dog park. Oh, then, oh, okay. Maybe if they both get along well, maybe we can tag along so they can have fun together.
Yeah, sure. Do you also live around this area?
Yes, I generally walk a little earlier in the morning, but today I had some work. So that's why I'm taking Stella a little later.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So, okay, so it's nice to know a neighbor here. What you do for living?
I'll be here.
Oh, I'm a realtor actually. That's why earlier in the morning I had some calls with my client. That's why I couldn't go for a walk in earlier today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice to know that
How-
there's a root living in our area.
that's right. I heard there are a few others too. How about you? Is this your regular time walking your dog?
I'm fine, you know, they're actually.
I can hear
Is
you.
this your regular time walking your dog?
How long have you been living here?
Is this your regular?
Walking time. Say.
Oh,
Is
really?
this the time that you walk every day?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Usually, when I get off work, yeah, this
It's
is,
so hard to do this on
Yeah.
this thing. Yeah. So boring.
yeah.
Where do you work? Is it in the?
I'm just seeing you. I knew.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not there, I would be, you're starting from. So they'll be like, oh, thank you.
So where-
Okay.
So where do you work? Is it?
Oh, where do I work?
So, nice.
I'm a nurse.
I think.
Oh.
That's the word.
Oh, wow. That's why I did not see you that often. Maybe your work schedule is every time.
Yeah.
That might work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for serving the community.
That would.
Oh, thank you. So it's a nice talk to you. Hopefully see you around and then we can take our dog to a dog park together.
Sure. Maybe next time when I'm taking Stella, I'll just ping you. If we both can take our dogs and they can have fun together.
Thank you.
So, yeah, so I think Vishali, you asked, you did ask 5 questions. You did ask about her dog, dog's details, and if she goes for a walk to the dog park. And you asked her about her walk time routine. So you're trying to get to a time where she can be met again, or, you know. You did ask about her profession. She's a nurse. You did ask if she lives in the neighborhood, so now you know that, you know her walk time. So I think you have asked her 5 questions, which is what you were supposed to. So, I know it's hard to do this on
Zoom,
like this,
yeah.
but I think you hit the 5 points that you should have. You could have asked more, but it's
That's right.
I think it
Next.
was the effort. Yeah.
I think in person, definitely it is a different conversation.
Yeah,
over Zoom.
yeah, it's not the same on Zoom call. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think it was good. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and you asked that you first asked her about her. You already know her from her signboard in Evergreen, which is very good attention to detail. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. You already knew her. Nice. Awesome.
That's right.
Okay. See you.
Thank
See
you. Okay, see you next time.
Something.
All right, can you guys come back? We'll get going. Okay.
Thank you.
The next part that we're talking about is, it's another step in prospecting. How to ask for an appointment or referral, how to give thanks, get permission to follow up with somebody or to get their contact info, right? So obviously a lot of what we talked about before was a little bit longer of a process, right? So, you're creating a relationship over time that hopefully will turn into, a potential client for you in the future, but there's always going to be this moment when, maybe you don't have their phone number yet, you don't have their email address yet. Maybe it's a sphere of influence, and you're going to ask for a possible referral later or whatever. So how do we do that? Okay, has anyone had that conversation before with somebody and how did that go? Go ahead, Mona.
Usually like I send out a newsletter every first of the month and, I'm going to do a research on what I'm now. So for the people that don't have any mail, I just text them or call them. Just say, hey, just checking in, and I go through forward. And then at the end, I'm like, oh, by the way, I am sending out a newsletter. I would love to add you to it. And they're like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll text me, thank you.
Yeah.
Or I will text them and say, hey, I thought I had your email. What's the email? I will love to add you to the newsletter. And they'll text it to me. The other way I've done it too is through the holidays that are coming. I usually send Christmas cards, a holiday card. And so they're like, hey, I thought I had your address. But I don't. I would love to have your address sent to you. Or a card for your birthday. I do birthday cards as well. So then they'll just text you. It's just easy enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's here, yeah.
Or friends from Facebook too, because usually a lot of your friends, you know them from the Facebook. But you don't have their email and you don't have their phone address. So then you just send them a message and say, hey, I'm sending you, birthday cards, I'm sorry, this is birthday, gonna have your address,
Are they, they feel comfortable sending me their address even though they don't really know it? You do?
No, but she's saying it's Facebook contact.
Yeah.
So people know her.
They might not, see each other, right?
So-
Yeah, but you know them because like.
But you know them, like,
No,
oh, they'll send you like your business address, right? So you'll send a birthday card there or something, as long as they get it, and then eventually you build that rapport or that closer relationship, and then you'll know what that's done.
Yeah, and I think it's mostly too, just like knowing how to ask
Yeah,
and then what you're asking for and even the appropriate time. Okay, so in some of the scripts that we've worked on, we're at an open house. They don't have an agent. I asked them I asked them if they had an agent. They said they didn't. I proceeded to, I'd love to set up a time where you and I could meet and just go over what you're looking for in a house. I'm available tomorrow, at 10 a.m. Does that work for you? Right? If 10 a.m. doesn't work, I also could do Saturday at 3 p.m. Okay. So it's always best in these scenarios when you're trying to like set an appointment with somebody, right? Don't leave it like super open-ended, like give them a time and then see if they take that time. I let a couple salesmen like get me on the phone and, when they get to the point where they're going to book a time with me, they never say, okay, so what time works for you? Right? They always will say, well, how about, I'd love to set an appointment with you. How about Friday at 6? Is that okay? So they try to pin you down with that time.
Hard close.
Hard close, yeah. If you can get them to commit to a time in that scenario, it's always worked for me so far, right? If you leave it open-ended, they always say, oh, well, can I have your card? I'll just text you
Yeah.
time to work. If you go down that road, you're never getting a text. Okay, so you want to make sure if you get to that point, if you can get the appointment, whether it's a listing appointment or just a buyer consultation, right? Give them a couple options and set that appointment right there.
and I think you could do it like when it's for open houses, and I think with time you get better. But, I know that at the beginning, I was like that. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll call you, or I'll got this phone number, and you can call and they don't respond.
Or I have your business card, I'll give you a call.
Give you a
Yeah,
call.
that, you know, that,
So for the, now I feel like I set up a payment on the spot. Right, so like I can sit down with you for half an hour to an hour, go through you, we don't even have to meet in person. And I'll go through what I can provide through your buyer, since I do a buyer solicitation. And then, and I give them time.
Yep.
And
That's
then we
exactly
set it up
what
and
you should
so if
do.
they don't want to, then they'll not do it.
I'd love to get you on my calendar. Let me look, you know, right now I can, just get your phone and just go to your calendar and then say, you know, it looks like I have tomorrow at 4 or Saturday at 5. I'd love to pencil you in on one of those. And they say, yeah, Saturday works. All right, great. Well, if you don't have their email address, that's when you get it, right? If you already have it, then go, okay, cool. I'll send you a Zoom invite and I look forward to seeing you on Saturday. You don't want them to walk away without having that meeting, okay? That's when you get to the point when it's all right, it's time to ask, okay?
Yeah, and sometimes you can also bring your like your buyer's consultation with you. And say, well, the open house will be over like in 10 or 20 minutes, 30 minutes, like the end. And actually, you can do it this afternoon. Like, we're
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, just meet me back.
Right, if you're done with the open house, they can hang out for like 10, 20 minutes, and like, oh yeah, we'll do it right now.
Yeah.
You can just do it.
So another one they talk about here is friends and family and sphere. Like, let's say I have a friend that lives in Texas and she's in my database and I call her all the time and we're checking in. I have this one, she's given me 2 referrals now in Texas and it's the same. You know, I call her up, hey Jordan, how are things? How's the house? You know, how's the boyfriend? How's work? How's conversations? And then next month I call her and next month I call her. We're just in these conversations. And then she was asking about something at one point, real estate wise. And then I was able to end the conversation like, well, hey, you know, if you do have any, any friends in your new job, because she works for a tech company out there now, any friends in your new job that's ever looking for a house, just, get me in touch with them. I'd love to help them out. And she's like, you can do stuff in Texas? And I said, no, but I have one of my really good friends works in Texas and him and I work together on a lot of things, so I can make sure I connect. And sure enough, 2 people already, right? And so what this script is right here is it just says, quote unquote, please let your friends and family know that I'd be honored to help them with their real estate needs, right? Some form of that. When you get to a point with a sphere of influence that's out of state, right? Let them know that you're here and you can help them even in Texas or Virginia or wherever. Doesn't matter. You want to plant that in their mind that if they're at a party or a barbecue and someone goes, oh, I'm thinking about buying a house, you want your friend to go, oh, I'll get you in touch with my friend Travis. He's really good. He'll set you up. Then that person will call me even from Texas. And then I get in a consultation, a buyer consultation with them. And then I say, well, listen, I do have an agent that I work really close with in Texas and I'll, his name is Jaron and I'll make sure that I get you 2 in contact, but hopefully by tonight and then, get you going. And then they always say, okay, that sounds great. And then, within an hour I have them connected, right? So your friends and your family and the people that you're calling in these calls, right? It doesn't matter where they are and there is scripts for that, okay? Open house script for getting permission to call them later on, right? So, hey, I just want to let you know too, I'll give you a call next time a house similar to this comes into the neighborhood, comes on the market. Is that all right? Or how does that sound to you? If they say, oh, that sounds good. All right, well, you write down your phone number really quick. I won't blow you up with a bunch of stuff, but if another house like this comes on the market, I'll make sure I'll reach out to you. Right, so you're now asking permission to follow up. That could be another way to do it. Okay. How would you like to be updated on the real estate market in your area? Right. Sometimes I'll say, if I meet somebody at an open house, if they say, oh, well, we're just looking, we probably won't buy till next year sometime. Okay, great. If I could grab your email address and then, I'll send you kind of relevant listings that come up, or I could say, I'd love to set up just a 10 or 15 minute meeting with you and kind of go over what you potentially could be looking for next year. And then, I'll just send you any, really good ones that come up between now and then. It won't be a lot. It'll be just like one a month. And if any of them, spark your interest, just, click thumbs up on it and I'll give you a call, something like that. Okay. So it's just kind of telling us like how to ask for things. Okay. Three ways to connect. Oh, one more right here that they gave it here. Get their contact info. So this is just a script. Now we use some of these in the PC classes, but not this exact one. But hey, it's so nice to meet you. Just in case I were gonna need to send you something, where would be the best place that I send it? And if it were a little bit more urgent, I needed to call, what would be a good number to call you on? So I'm like almost like asking permission, like, hey, I might send stuff out. If I do, where would be an address for that? And so what are you gonna send me? Oh, well, sometimes I do birthday cards or Christmas cards or Halloween gift baskets or stuff like that. And then, if like a really hot house comes on the market or something, I might give you a call and stuff. Usually people will give you their contact info at that point. Okay. Okay. Call, visit, attend open houses. So these are three ways to connect with people. Obviously, call them directly, door knock them, visit them, right? Attend open house or different random events. Okay. Calling, know who to call. When I first started, I always heard about cold calling or whatever. You just had no idea even how to access it. Right? What are you guys at with that in regard to, if you decided you wanted to crank out a bunch of cold calls, like, could you get a list? Do you have any ability to do that at this point? Because we're talking about expired listings, for sale by owners, internet leads, website inquiries, people that you've met before. These are like people that you would call, right? Expired listings are something we can do in a whole other class. Expired listings, you got to be really committed to doing that. Yeah, there are people that are really specific about it. For sale by owner, same thing. There's specific scripts to that. But if you're driving down the street and you see a for sale by owner sign in the driveway, it doesn't hurt to just park your car and go knock. Hey, I just saw that you're selling this for sale by owners. My name's Travis. I'm a realtor at Keller Williams and wanted to ask how it's going so far. Are you getting any traction on it? Yeah, no, what, it gets you in a conversation. Okay. There was so my mentor, he sent me this picture the other day, and it was a guy at Home Depot holding a for sale by owner sign. So he was going to Home Depot to buy a for sale by owner sign. And that person was like 3 people ahead of him in line. And he sent the picture and he's like, Travis, what do you think's about to happen? And then like he called me like 2 hours later and he's like, yeah, I got the listing.
Wow.
So he followed him outside, introduced himself and kind of like saw the sign. What are you trying to do? And he just explained all the reasons why you shouldn't sell your house by yourself. And, he got the listing, sold the house already. So if you see a sign in front of someone's house, why not go knock? Just see, maybe they're having a really awful experience trying to do it themselves. Sometimes what people do if they're hunting out for sale by owners is print out the entire listing agreement and the purchase agreement, both, all pages, and then put them all together, staple them so they can physically see how many papers that they're going to have to process to sell their house. And then go, so I just wanted you to see, these are all the documents that you're going to be responsible for if you do it yourself. And, like I have E&O insurance, errors and emissions insurance through my office. So if there's any mistakes in the contracts, we're covered. You don't have that. You're legally responsible for every emission in here if there is one, right? Furthermore, like, I'll take care of all this for you, right? I'm going to get all this filled out. I have a full team, a transaction coordinator. We have escrow and title companies. This is going to be a process for you where you can just hand me the keys and then we'll sell your house and You can continue on your daily business. You won't have to deal with this, right? Something like that, right? So that could be, for sale by owner, referrals.
How do you handle the expired?
I don't call expired listings, but
There's different ways.
yeah,
I'm actually on a group, I haven't done it yet, but I'm part of a, WhatsApp group where they jump on Zoom, so I sometimes I jump on Zoom, just to see how they're doing it. But yeah, there's different groups on Facebook, and people who like actually, that's all they do.
yeah. I mean, just initially, if I'm thinking expired listing, I'm calling someone, it's like, hey, my name's Travis, I'm a realtor at Keller Williams. I'll bet today you probably got 1,000 phone calls from realtors already. I just wanted to call and see if you had a minute, just wanted to know what happened in that process. Was it, is the market just not ready, or did you have a bad experience, or, just let them talk and let them tell you how crazy their experience was. And as they're talking, that gives you hints on how you can bridge some of those gaps. I wouldn't come straight in and start talking. Try to get a little bit more info, then talk. That's how I would say.
There's another one that is not in the list, that is probate.
Yep.
The probate is another way of,
Remember, each of those things is just like, they're all a specific niche, right? So like, are you an agent that sits in here all day and focuses on expired listings? Or are you somebody that does for sale by owners? Or are you somebody who does probate sales? Or are you somebody who does land sales, right? It's all like,
You have to
know,
find like your own little.
yeah, whatever your niche is, and then focus on that. Like, there are people who only do for sale by owners. That's it. They just scour around the Bay Area and call for sale by owners. That's what they do all day, every day, all counties. Same with expired listings. There's some people that come to the office, they just call expired listings. That's it. With the same, I'm gonna make 100 phone calls, and one of them will, yeah. Calling, know when to call and who to call. And then do not call. Calling, know what to say. We talked about that already. Be ready to call. We talked about this in one of the PC classes, but this is, if you have your lead generation time and it's blocked, whether it's at home or in the office, this sign here that says lead generation in progress, get yourself one printed out and put it on your door. Tell your husband or your wife or your kids that this is what you're doing at these set times and you need to focus on it. Okay, because you don't want to get halfway through and then get kind of bogged down with it. Okay. Okay. No visiting, ways to connect with people, know your options for visiting. Random encounters, we worked on a random encounter script right now, right? Pop bys, or just stopping over at some friend's house, door knocking. We're gonna do a whole class on door knocking coming up. We're gonna do a whole class on farming coming up. Those are all specific things, right? Like door knocking, there are agents who only do door knocking. That's it. Their whole business model is based on door knocking. I'm not saying that don't do all of these things. Pick a couple of these things and try to be really good at them. Okay. If you want to focus on door knocking, lean into it for like a whole year. Get really good at it. Don't do for sale by owner, open houses, door knocking, expired listings, and then, friends and family. And if you do all these things, you're going to be all over the place every day. Okay. It's better to focus in on a couple things. Okay. But I think the one thing we could take out of today is like that random encounter script, which just get a couple of those lines and have them in your mind. So when you have that random encounter, you can start the conversation. Right? So who to visit, for sale by owners. I just talked to you guys about that. Expired listings. Get door knocking, expired listing, right? Residents, if you're geographic farm, Myrna, you do that. Okay, apartment dwellers. So there's a script that I have that we'll work on. So those, those big apartment complexes, like let's say there's one in San Jose, There's like 300 apartments in there. Everybody in there, pays 4,000 or more a month for rent. They're probably all tech workers. They're just, I have a script for door knocking apartments and trying to explain to them the value of owning versus renting. Right? Those would be all potential first-time home buyers. Okay. Homeowners around your house when you're doing an open house. Jenny is about to do this right now. She's getting her flyers ready. Corporations, banks, like you were working with, the retirement homes or retirement communities, right? It's like a little, yeah,
And then I think one that is not there is business to business.
yeah.
So contractors, actually, one of the contractors that I've been in touch with, and I've been referring to business. So now that he's gonna buy, and I mean, I know he works with a lot of agents, but he chose me to help him just find that. So I think he's building those relationships that
Yep.
with a long time, you're gonna get those.
So this is just knowing who to visit, right? If you're going to try to create contact with people, right? Visiting, know when to visit. Okay, so before we get into this, I just wanted to give you guys one thing for me for connecting so it's visiting and then attending and hosting events. Okay. So you talk about you do the like giving back to the community, the retirement community. Okay. I joined a running group in Pleasanton. That the store is probably some down here called Fleet Feet. The store called Fleet Feet. Look it up. Like a gold mine. Okay. Fleet Feet has different running programs for adults, right? Some very beginner, some pretty advanced, but they do classes. They do like 8-week classes, and you go 2 nights a week for 8 weeks, and like maybe it's learn to run a mile, maybe it's a 5K class or whatever. But every 8 weeks, I join the class, right? And I'm doing the 5K one right now. But what I found is like it's the same 30 people that show up every Wednesday and Saturday for my running group, right? At 6 p.m., same 30 people. And, I'm spending 20 minutes stretching and warming up. We go on our run, we come back, we cool down. Sometimes we go for drinks afterwards. I went on a run last night with one of the guys from the group that just called me. He's like, hey, I'm getting off work right now. I'm in Pleasanton. Do you want to go for a run really quick? So I went with him, right? As we're running through this neighborhood in Pleasanton. He's like, man, how much are these houses worth? And then I told him, and he's like, I'm thinking about maybe moving into this neighborhood. So, and he's some sort of scientist at the Livermore Labs is what he does. So he's going to be able to buy it. But what I'm saying is like, it was a way for me to get into a group of all potential home buyers or sellers. And, everyone in these groups, as you're walking to your running site, and you're walking back, everyone's in conversation, so it's not just like a running group. You could get in a hiking group.
I just joined a hiking.
That'll be a gold mine.
There's like, which I didn't know, there's like a Hispanic hiking group. So my home
Yeah.
joined that one and
So-
then joined the other, there's like a women's hiking group.
I would highly advise you guys find something like that, right? So what's a chess club or a pool club or a hiking club?
Whatever
or a-
you're into. I
Yeah,
think.
whatever you're into, get into some, and you're going there because you like the activity. I like going to run, but the reality is, funny, I told my buyer's agent that I was doing it. I'm like, hey, I'm joining Fleet Feet and I'm gonna do this running club. And he kind of looks at me and he's like, how many people are in that thing? And I'm like 30, and he goes, you're doing it to get fucking deals, And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Whoa. that's what
Yeah.
I said, I like hiking.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Never.
Yeah. Visiting, know your options for your visit, know who you're gonna visit, and know when to visit. Know when, don't visit someone's house at 9 p.m., right? Don't visit someone's house at 7 a.m. Make sure it's a good time and know why you're visiting. We talked about this before. When I door knock, I come with something of value. Okay. I brought some things just for the group, but like, I did this, I did these yearly calendars, magnets last year. This is one of my months.
I did one.
Okay. On the calendar, I had sticky notes made.
Oh,
I put the sticky note on the calendar, right? And I wrote on the sticky note, I hope this helps you hold up a photo or two on your refrigerator, Travis Clark. Right? And it's funny, like one of the neighborhood friends, I went into his house, I don't know, a couple months afterwards, and sure enough, my magnet's on the refrigerator. So I'm trying to think what the actual like percentage is. I'm guessing 5-10% of my magnets probably made it on someone's refrigerator, right? It's just it was a way for me to door knock that door, right? Halloween, I'll do the bags of candy, right? I really like the one that you did.
popcorn.
Yeah, the popcorn one.
And this year, instead of doing the calendars, I think I'm gonna do, I went to this first time home buyer, event, kind of like a conference. And I can't remember the company, but they gave me a, can opener. So basically this little thing, and you put it on top of like, yeah, it's a little thing. And so I brought it home, but I was like, I don't know if it's gonna work or not. Mom was like, oh my God, I love this. I use it all the time. And then I saw that on Facebook on the top line, they gave me the company, everything, that's how she actually, not my capital home.
How much was it?
Like 9 cents
Oh, so it's $1 a door.
dollar.
Yeah. So yeah, so we'll go as we go into more farming, but there's something that you can do farming kind of for everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
So let's go to page 54. So just take a couple minutes to fill this out for yourself, right? Phone calling or visits for sale by owners. I currently call, I plan to call, I currently visit, or I plan to visit, or just leave it blank. So let's just see what you guys can currently fill in on this one, okay? Interesting, when I first did this sheet, I really realized how much more stuff I probably should be doing, you know? You got some on there currently. Nice.
Planted.
Of all the plans is, yeah. Okay, we don't need to spend that much time, like reviewing that. It's a really good one to, just realize visually, like, should you be doing more stuff? Like lead generation, prospecting, can you be doing more stuff? Okay, go to page 61 now. So these are just prospecting activities, right? I currently belong to, or I plan to join the Chamber of Commerce, join a homeowners association, a builders association, a Rotary Club, other. So for me, it would be Fleet Feet Running Group or the hiking group or whatever, so I can write those in. So why don't you guys fill that out? It's like a little worksheet for yourself. This would be page 61.
And you can also join, I'm the secretary for the Asian Association of Realtors.
Oh, there you go.
So there's a lot of nonprofits that you can volunteer for, come on the board, and be on a committee, or just be a volunteer.
Yeah.
Show up when you do events.
Yep. I mean, it's a good way just to kind of understand what you're currently doing, or what are some of the activities or ideas, you know? Like the one, like I said, the main one I do right now is the running group, Fleet Feet. That's the main one that I do. And then I'm probably gonna try to get on my son's hockey team, like the club, their board of directors. I'm gonna try to get on that. Obviously, it'd be great to help his team, but everybody's a prospect to me, so I'm gonna see what I can do, right? You don't have any yet? What about plans here? Like, it's, and even if it's not listed, you can write it in the bottom there. And then if you, like I said, if you didn't finish that one, just make sure you get to it tonight. I mean, it's something that we want to talk about over time. It's going to be a little bit of homework in regard to, you know, I want you guys all joining something or doing something that you will get yourself in front of more prospects, okay? In groups, in associations, you know, you have your kids that are doing different sports, they're at a school, a PTA, like whatever. You need to get yourself involved in things. The A, it's helping your kid, but then B, those are all prospects, all of them. Okay, so I think that's important. Okay. Really quick, the last one too that we'll talk about is just getting comfortable with making contact. I just wanted to read something that I thought was interesting. The thick-skinned, fearless, expected in salespeople is more fiction than fact. It turns out that many people are struggling with a bone-shaking fear of prospecting. The fear tends to persist regardless of what they sell, how well they have been trained to sell it, or how they manage their time, or set their goals, or how much they personally believe in what their product is worth. Okay, so it's saying statistically, no matter what you're selling, how much money you're making doing it, or whatever, statistically, people are terrified to make sales calls or try to sell things, cold calling, door knocking, everything. Find the thing, the mindset, or the affirmation that helps you with that. Okay, Google search sales affirmations. Just see if any of them make sense to you, or steal the one that I use. Man, if this person opens up this door, it's going to be $20,000. You know? Oh, damn, it's nothing. Cool. You know? And at the end of the day, too, the worst thing that someone can really do, honestly, is just tell you no, or they're not interested. And does that really ruin your day? Like, think about this too. When you guys leave here and you drive home, you know, I would say count the houses between here and home, but there's going to be too many. So there's a ton of houses, right? And I want you, next time you drive into your neighborhood, I want you to look around and then just start calculating commission checks on each one, right? Assign a dollar amount to each one in your neighborhood. And then find out, like, reality is, even if I only get 3% of these over a 3-year period, how much money is that?
Yeah. I
Right?
mean, that's how I think about it too. Like, once your neighbors start, getting to know you, right? Even if they don't even sell, the fact that they'll give you a referral when they think about you, that's still the same.
Yep. So just find a way that makes you want to knock on the door, or at least be okay with it. Or if you're about to do a circle prospecting or a cold call, that you can make that call. Like,
And if you're new, I mean, the way I started door knocking was, I'm partnered with another agent. And I told her, I'm gonna start door knocking this area, if you wanna come with me, and then
Yeah.
I'll go to your area and door knock with you.
yep, I think that's really great, because if you,
For safety, on one, And two, I just wanted to feel that I was accountable to someone else, so it's not like I was gonna wake up one day and be like, oh, no, this is like.
Yeah.
Right, but if you know that that other person's gonna come, and it gets a lot easier, then you just start doing it and then you can do it on your own. It's really amazing. And for open houses, Jenny, I usually door knock as well, right, because you're having a house for sale. So usually door knock either, I'm not sure how you're gonna do yours.
I'm going to store not at least 100.
Yeah, you can usually
Around
door
the
knock
neighborhood.
around the neighborhood and just say hi, I'm the information for this, property, what's gonna come on the market. You can also do, I haven't done this, but one of the agents does like a wine,
Oh, yeah, we do that.
you do like a twilight kind of thing. Yeah, and so you do that just for the closer neighbors, and basically you give them VIP access to the house before anybody actually comes in. But if you door knock around that neighborhood, and then they'll come and see you at the open house, and then you send them either a postcard, or you can door knock, just letting them know you sold it or how much. Then those are like 3 questions that you're doing to the neighbors, that not all the agents do.
Yeah. And remember,
I
like,
get another message from that,
Yeah.
you're consistent, you might get another.
and you know, the main thing that I wanted you guys to get from this class right here today, right, is, you know, prospecting over marketing, focus on prospecting. Use marketing to supplement your prospecting, right? And then a couple ideas for prospecting, right? And then get you to focus in on things that you might be good at. And then, you know, if you're getting ready to make that call or knock on that door or talk to that stranger at the park, figure out something that helps you get past that initial, I'm nervous to do this. Okay, work on that. That's, I think, what it comes down to, because there's money out there. There's like literally money just floating around and you just gotta grab it. You know, you really do. So,
I think if you know your why you're doing this, I think what helps for me, every year I create a vision board, it's on my phone. So there's certain things that I want in my life, and I know that I have to do it in order to get what I
that's a
want.
really good idea. That's a good way to do it.
So then into my laptop, into my phone, to my little office, I'll frame it. So whatever it is that is gonna motivate you to do what you have to do to get to where you want to be.
Does anyone have questions from today?
Now, so for door knocking, when I run listing, personal, I did every time, I mean, I run open home Saturday, Sunday night. So on Thursday, I just door knocked at 50 to 60, folders. Yeah, install them, yeah, I had to. I'm going to post open house. Saturday, Sunday. Don't bring it home.
It helps a lot of you not have more traffic into the open house, right?
Yeah.
So,
You do flyers and you do that?
Yeah. Every
Yeah, because if they don't answer, you gotta leave a
Yeah.
flyer. Yeah. All right, well, that's this class. Abigail, thanks. So we'll be done.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Rashali, if you want to call me in a few minutes.
Sure, I will do that. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Travis. Thank you.
Yeah.